So apparently, you can be fired for being irresistible. Really? Apparently, yes you can. Apparently, that is a legitimate reason for terminating someone's employment. Now, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, if you haven't heard, or if you're not getting it yet, there was a case in Iowa that happened a good 6 months ago or so, and recently a higher court made a ruling on it, where a woman was terminated from her employment as a dental assistant for quote-unquote being too irresistible. Now, to give you some basic context here, apparently the husband of the family that ran this practice employed a woman, and they exchanged in banter, if you will, back and forth via text about, according to the articles I've read, personal and private matters. And they would take a sexual turn sometimes. But this wasn't like the woman just sending like, I want to fuck you, and the guy being like, oh my god, I don't know what to do with this. It was, by all accounts, a back and forth interplay where when it was commented on that his sex life was infrequent, the employer woman commented that that's like having a Lamborghini and never getting to drive it. And he would ask her such things like, how often do you have an orgasm? It seems very much like this was a back and forth play between these two. A sort of flirtatious work element, if you will, that kind of crossed maybe some boundaries. Not my point to even say, I don't care. The point here is that when the wife in this equation of the doctor here found out about this, she wanted her terminated, this other woman, because it was a threat to their marriage, and apparently he couldn't resist her. And so, that's what happened. She was fired because he couldn't resist her advances or some such bullshit nonsense. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, dear internet, but if a woman comes on to you and you're married, you do have the choice to rebuff her advances, inform her you are married, and not carry on with that interplay. It is, in fact, I would go so far as to say, not her fault that he found her attractive. I don't know. Maybe I'm being crazy. But as I understand it, we control our own choices and actions, and if I find a woman irresistible, well, that's actually a lie. I can resist it. I'm not psychologically impaired. And in fact, most people aren't. If you want somebody, you do have, in fact, a choice to say, well, I want them, but I'm otherwise engaged. Maybe I should not do this thing. In fact, I won't. And this goes through a lot of married men's heads, at least once in their married lives, I'm sure, where some other woman or some other man, for the women, you want to flip this situation around, puts advances on them, and they have that choice before them. Do I cheat or not? And I would dare say most people don't. So, what makes this guy different, right? Why is he so out of control of himself that he literally had to fire her because otherwise he could not have stopped himself from cheating or something? Does that work? No. Was that a good reason to fire somebody? I'd say no. But this was upheld. Yes, this was upheld as a valid firing reason. Now, what? And And, right? Like, that's just brain melting, if you ask me. It's like, oh, what? But, no. But no. Because, like I said, not only do you have the ability to control your own actions and responses to stimuli, right? But, I don't know, maybe some goddamn professionalism in the workplace could happen. Just, I don't know, a thought, where we interact with each other as human beings. And we can have banter, maybe even flirt, without it becoming a dire threat. I mean, it's one of those things, we make fun of it in sitcoms, we talk about it, where workplace banter is its own beast in a way. And, you can flirt with a female employee, but you don't really mean anything behind it. It's sort of that workplace banter. You make fun, flirtatious comments, they do things, and it actually never goes anywhere beyond that, ever. What this actually seems like to me, because, and here's the kicker, the couple consulted a pastor They consulted their preacher about the situation because the husband was being tempted to infidelity, and the pastor was like, yeah, you got to terminate that bitch, right? Otherwise your marriage is in trouble. Now, I would think that this is not so much a sign of this temptress came in and everything was fucked because of her, but more so, what's wrong with this marriage? What is so fucked up about this marriage that he had to fire an employee or else he would have cheated on her because he could not stop himself? What's wrong there? I would think that perhaps instead of treating this as a problem with an employee, this should be treated as a marital issue between the two. But really, that's neither here nor there, all of those other specifics. The point is, a woman was fired because she was too attractive, basically, and the guy was not able to stop himself. And I think that is an injustice. Just something to think about.